This week on Carlie's Couch, we're talking about the parts of ourselves that we keep hidden away. Whether it's out of fear, shame, or whatever, why is it that some things we are not showing others?
How you doing today, Lexi?
I am doing good. I got some steaks and some shrimp marinating in the cut.
Chef Lex.
We about to hit the grill after this episode, hence we about to keep this mad short.
Because we hungry.
So that's how I'm doing, but I'm feeling good. How are you?
Excited for these steaks.
That's
and
real.
chilling. Yeah, I feel great.
Cool. We hope you all are doing well as well. I hope you're having a great summer.
Yo,
You
shout
have
out to everybody following us on YouTube. Our YouTube is growing. I think we're at 500 or like right about to hit it. So appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Yeah. So for those of you who watch, I guess more people actually kind of seem like they like watching. I don't watch podcasts because the ads and just stuff pisses me off. But yeah, kudos to y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we are thinking about the parts of us that we do not show to other people and or to ourselves, what are like these different like categories of things that we're talking about? Because maybe your first instinct might be like, yeah, I don't like people seeing when I'm low energy or something like that. But there's so many different things.
Yeah, I think emotions is the easiest one when you think about it. It's like not like hiding like how you're really feeling or doing. And a lot of people aren't even in touch with their own emotions. So
Yeah, that was me. I didn't even know how I felt to even show it. So yeah, or to myself or to anybody else. Another one is your desires. So very often I think this is probably a common thing where we may have certain desires and we don't talk about them, we don't say them. I would say, you maybe disagree, but I would say I feel like rarely people really like state like big desires, like, yeah, I want this and I want that. It seems like people kind of try to keep it chill so they like mitigate disappointment.
But I love when people do like post, like for example, I've seen tweets like where people are like, oh, I want to work with Beyonce. And then they circle back and repost like them working with Beyonce.
Yeah. But also this could, things that could fall here may be things that a person may feel shame about based on society or things. So like certain desires they may have with how they live their life, and feeling that that's something to keep to themselves.
Yeah, and with that, I think it's tied with fear, like a fear of, like their fears. They're not sharing things that they're afraid people might judge them on, or I don't know.
And you don't even want people to know what you are afraid of. So also, like, I definitely have had a lot of that where it's like, you want people to see you as somebody who does not have fears or, nothing big. Like you can go through anything. And so we might not show when we're afraid or scared. And because of that, maybe you don't ask for help.
Absolutely. Insecurities is a big one. A lot of times, because I feel like we got picked on for things when we were little and like my big old forehead. And, it just becomes things that you try to hide from people or you don't want to talk about. But I think that's interesting. And I'm excited to talk about how maybe actually not hiding them could help with that. But anyways.
Another thing that you could be hiding, maybe an identity. That could be sexual identity. It could be identity around how you present yourself, how you want to dress or look. There's so many people who have double lives, or like, it's so funny. The image in my head is like the CEO, like the bald CEO, but then have some platform heels on. There's a couple like accounts like that. They'd be like, I don't know, they just gotta be fierce, or like the long nails or whatever. But there are some things that people keep hidden, or they indulge themselves in who they want to be at certain times or with certain community or groups.
100%. Another could be memories or past or like traumas. Like a lot of people keep those things hidden and don't want to talk about that or share those things.
And then just, tendencies and habits. Maybe you keep it hidden that you spend 10 hours scrolling Instagram all day, or you keep hidden that you sit in your car for like 30 minutes before you go in the house, or it could be anything, right? So all of this is just so we're kind of trying to jog thoughts about like, ooh, what are some things that, I kind of keep to myself. But also it's not all negative either. So like, whether you are falsely or truly protecting yourself and or maybe not in tune with yourself or whatever it is, there's lots of reasons why a person may not want to share.
I feel like one of the first ones would be fear of judgment. Like that is a big thing that keeps people from sharing anything. Like they're scared people, like even like with their art or things they're really excited about. I would also say maybe that's another thing people don't share is like their creative pursuits.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so fear of judgment is the thing that holds a lot of people back from opening up.
One I really like and that may resonate with me is like image management. You want folks to have, whether it's you want them to have a certain view of you or, you know, you want people to think of you as a certain way. And so, yeah, maybe if I want them to see me as somebody who gets things done or has fun or whatever, then they wouldn't know, or maybe I would hide the things that I'm doing that might not be as productive, or I might hide how much time I really spend doing things or how I do things, or, you know, just stuff that doesn't necessarily fall into whatever those images might be.
Yep. Another one is survival. And it made me think we are having summer camp coming up and we had to have the conversation like what happens if ICE shows up, because we don't ask our students about that. We don't ask the people who work with us. We don't ask their parents. We don't have that conversation. So what does it look like? But survival. So a lot of times people hide things like hiding their sexuality, hiding their relationships, hiding their kids, hiding whatever, like for survival, to protect themselves, to protect the other person, etc.
That's such a shame, isn't it? Jeez.
My little heart broke, boy.
Yeah. And then another thing could be childhood conditioning. So what you grew up thinking was right, or being taught was right or wrong, or how you should act or the things you should do. And then that kind of also ties in with shame, which I think is something that happens over time or based on like your environment as well. Like the things that you find shameful, like, oh, my household was so Christian and I learned all these values and I should be a virgin until I'm married and all of that, right? So you might hide your desires or actions you're taking or the way you live your life because you feel that it wouldn't be acceptable or understood or whatever by somebody else.
Yeah, all those are big and important reasons why people that have trained people to hide certain things. When you're thinking about your life, are there any areas that maybe you used to hide that you find yourself being more open and vulnerable about?
Yeah, I think that some of the things out of like all of those that I would very much hide from other people was emotions, hide my fears. I would hide, I mean, this goes with emotions, but like how I was feeling or what I thought about, you know, certain things. I have traditionally really liked just people not knowing things. I'm a person like I always feel like I kind of need to have something that's secret, and not like it's something crazy like somebody tied in the basement or anything, but like, you know, just things that people don't know. Maybe more recently, it's things that I used to hide and don't as much anymore, but still to certain people, right? They're still like parents or family, you know, you don't really talk about certain things with them. But I think in general, maybe around like sex and relationships, things like that, like there's more, I don't want to say acceptance, but like in general, people can be a little more open about how they talk about those things. So yeah, those are a few for me. What about for you?
I would say being overly emotional. I've always been told I'm too sensitive or I'm too this, and I used to try to hide that or act like I wasn't, but now I kind of embrace it as a superpower, but I also have boundaries, so it's a lot better. I would say I used to feel like I had to have all the answers and be perfect, and now I know that there's actually a lot more wisdom in not knowing and in asking for help, and in also asking for help. I used to not tell people when I needed help. I would suffer by myself and try to figure stuff out and be embarrassed or shameful or I don't know, whatever reason, trauma. I think also a new one that I've noticed is being able to share my body even when I don't feel like it's where I want it to be, like with my fitness posts and things. I noticed like I used to kind of shirk away from sharing as much or like hide to get different ankles and do stuff. And now I'm like, actually, this is a body and our bodies are okay and this is okay.
Yeah, every body, like going way, way back, like as a child, like elementary, middle school, etc. I very much would like just hide my body. Like I did not like wearing shorts. I didn't wear like bikini swimsuits, little tops, and also, I guess I'm just old now because I'm about to say it was a different time a little bit, but like you know, sometimes it's like when you see like younger kids and they kind of the clothes is mad little. But but that's kind of a different story. But so I kind of grew up like wanting to hide myself, and also around some of the people I would be around, because I had this like big long hair, and like, you know, it just, you just didn't want people to look at you. Like, people felt like, oh, you think you're all that or whatever. And I traditionally would try to like shirk, like, I don't want people to look at me and think, oh, I'm trying to be some real cute girl or whatever. Like, I didn't want people to look at me.
Yeah, and so now you're saying you're more okay with sharing?
Oh, yeah, like, it is what it is, yeah. But, yeah, and then there's just a lot of shame, too, because when I've had having experiences where people are, like, messing with you, it's like you just don't want people to see you, because you don't want to be messed with in whatever kind of way. So, like, that's just something you had to grow into and be uncomfortable. Is there anything that you feel like you're still struggling to let people see?
That's a good question. I think I'm still working through how to share when I need help, or like how to ask for help. Like, that's something I still have a little bit of a hesitation. Like, I noticed, or like when I'm angry, and I need to like have a conversation, I'm much more apt to have it now and be okay with it not coming out perfect and naming that in the beginning. But I've always been a very direct person, but I noticed in my romantic relationships, it was harder to advocate for my needs, or to like basically tell the person they weren't meeting them, or give them what they could do better. Like, I used to feel weird about that, and I'm practicing now actively not feeling like that, and that feels better. But it's still something I notice myself like hesitating.
For me in general, I would not say that there's anything that I know about me or feel about me that I'm necessarily struggling to let people see. But I say that because anything I could kind of think of that I would think maybe I'll put in that category. It's not necessarily that I'm struggling to let people see, but those are maybe areas where I'm like actually just like struggling to do that thing or be that person.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with, not showing as in like I'm going out of my way to show something, but like I don't have a problem talking about or even correcting people on like, actually, like, no, this something is a struggle for me, or that I am struggling with stuff.
That's good.
So there's not that much space there. Yeah, anything I could think of is because I'm kind of still maybe wrestling with it myself. And so it's about myself, maybe struggling to see myself in certain ways for right now. Maybe I'm in that kind of section.
And when we think about what these hidden parts reveal about us, that's a great one. Like, those are things that you're still struggling to see yourself. So it's hard to share because maybe you're still working out the relationship with that thing.
Right. Like, what is this for me? But also, like we said before, too, like there's so many things that we grow up learning or being taught are unacceptable. And so when you think about the things that are hard for you to reveal, it could be around that. So like sexuality, or like how the type of relationship you have, you poly and all these different things, right? Like those are parts that might be a struggle because you know that those aren't things that everybody will understand or accept, etc. So some of the things that you're struggling to show or that you keep hidden may be revealing that you're kind of struggling with feeling like this is something that would not be acceptable.
Yeah, and in that same vein, like, it might make you feel like, oh, if I do share this, then not only am I going to be judged, but maybe I'm not going to be loved, or maybe people won't understand me. And so thinking about those things that, you know, we hide to stay lovable. You know, you don't want to ever speak up for yourself because then you're easygoing and everybody receives that, you know, but then you're not actually advocating for yourself. But maybe that's why you hide. You don't want to be unloved or misunderstood.
I think things like finances and your job and stuff like that could fall into that place too, because a lot of times we can think like, I know, like if I'm struggling with money or struggling with a thing, like I'm not in a position to date, or like you feel like you can't do certain things because, you know, how do you feel being on a date and being like, yeah, I'm, you know, dealing with this or that, or, you know, you might not, and not also not to say like maybe you shouldn't be Bruce Chris and shit, but of course, like if you know somebody might judge that, then that's not something that you would really probably put in the forefront of a conversation.
Absolutely. And then I feel like there's a tension between like being authentically yourself and then also feeling the norms to belong in a certain group or with your friends, or if you've always been a certain way. And so there could be this tension between who you really are and who you felt like you had to be.
And that definitely reveals that. And that kind of goes with like what you're taught is unacceptable too. It's why it's so hard for like people to come out to their families or to other people and stuff. Like it really is like a tension between if you are going to be able to live for yourself or live for other people. And so it can be tough. It can limit you though, I would say. I definitely like, so all the things that I can think of over the years that are things that I kind of kept hidden. Once I realized them, work on them, or the things that I'm figuring out or working out now, I'm working through them because I know that they might limit my ability to have good relationships because I'm not being fully truthful or open, or, you know, if you're like, I'm kind of lying to myself about a thing, you're kind of presenting it in that way to somebody else. And so it definitely, one thing I saw is how it limited me in relationships to not really be like authentic and kind of like in my full self.
I think you just said it right before we went into this. It can limit your whole life. Like if you are spending your life being somebody who you're not, to please your parents, to please a spouse, to live up to whatever thing you said you told your grandpa you were going to do when you were 5 years old, like that will hold you back. And I think about it like I've always been a creative, but I never let myself have that title because I felt like I had to have a serious job. Like I had to make money to protect my family and not be poor and do this and do that. And it's like, girl, you know, just embrace who you are. And I feel like, not that I missed out on time because I don't believe that. I believe we learn things and get places when we're supposed to. But it was like, I really could tell I was holding myself back just from happiness and from joy and from, like Lexi said, meeting all the right people.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the best things that happens when you start to integrate those parts, and when you're able to hide less about yourself, your relationships and the people around you are so much more authentic because you're more in alignment. Like, you know, when you have people around you who you can be yourself with, now you're taking this weight off of your shoulders, which I can kind of remember how that feels when it's like you're out where you're thinking so hard about these things that you can't even just like enjoy and let your nervous system like just be relaxed and just be in yourself.
And that's the best part of having to no longer perform or wear a mask for other people or at your job or whatever, is just that weight it takes off of, like the pressure off your heart.
So then let's talk about maybe some ways that you can gently start to show up more fully. I think that one of the most important things is kind of like checking in with yourself. So often I will recognize like if I feel uncomfortable or if I feel shame about a thing, or maybe I'm getting down on myself about something, then just kind of like thinking through what that is, getting comfortable with it myself, and at least understanding and knowing myself about what are things that I may not be like wanting to really like tell people, or, you know, about my situations with life, you know, and why. Because if you can get good with it, then you're in a different space where like trying to hide it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and so in that I heard, so some ways you can gently start showing up as your full self are to notice how you feel. So check in with yourself, notice how you feel, acting on that. I would say exploring, like listening to your intuition. So you're like, oh man, your whole life, I've always wanted to take a pottery class. I really want to do this thing. But you tell yourself, oh, I don't have money. I don't have time. I need to be spending my time doing something more, you know, intentional with my work and do this. No, do the thing. Like actually just explore. Go do the thing that's on your heart. Go to the
gay club and just see what's
do
up.
The thing.
Like,
what's up? What's good?
Because you may, again, you're maybe in the right environment and meet the right people that allow you to be like, oh, I do love art, or I do want to be in this community, or do whatever. And you can, you know, do it a little bit more slowly and gently that way with people who may be understanding. So start with safe spaces. Also recognize the friends or the people, places where you can start to practice like opening up about things. Like I said, man, I was so anti like communicate, talk, all that. But then it feels so good sometimes when I'm just like, ooh, I'm just like running my mouth. And like, I don't even maybe super know this person, or even if I do, just like actually checking in about things and, you know, just talking about it. But also I know when I am like chatty, but like that, or talking about it, and yeah, I'm figuring this out, and I don't know about this or whatever. When I'm being more vulnerable, then I'm also know I'm already in that kind of like space that we were talking about too, where it's like I'm in the things that move in space and change in space, and so that just also helps you like build the confidence in being in that space and like, okay, I'm still working through this, but I know, and I'm there.
I think giving yourself permission to be open to it and to be curious is the first step. Like you might just jump off like the little yacht, like Beyonce, into the big old ocean, but you might not. You might dip your toe, and the first step there is just being open to what it could be, and moving as quickly or as slowly as feels good. Noticing that as you're unlearning this shame or this fear or whatever's happening, that it'll be uncomfortable, and that's a really good place to be. I think going to therapy could be helpful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To getting to the bottom of it. I have a friend who's like scared to go places by herself. Like that's a thing, and like dealing with some anxiety, and like, you know, her therapist is helping her work through that, and that's really cool. But she's also learning a lot about herself and then able to share more.
Yeah, and when we're talking this whole episode about things that you kind of hide from people, it's something about being with a therapist who's like a licensed person. They know what's going on. You don't know them. They don't. I'm about to say they don't care about you. They care about you, but you know they don't.
You work.
Yeah, like if anywhere, that's the place where you could just say stuff, like just get it out, and then it at least feels good in that space to get it out. Then you kind of start to get to that space where you're thinking and working through things. They maybe give you their tips or whatever that you can try and work through. So therapy is definitely a great place. And, you know, I see so many people now talking about how they use like ChatGPT to talk to and ask it questions. And there's some stuff that I've put in there that I've asked around, like, let's say like with maybe something I was eating and you know, like trying to optimize certain things. I've put in there stuff like a thought I was having, and what about this? And to ask for like what's research or articles, things like that. You know, don't fall into thinking like that's a real person or anything, but there even if that's a step to like just understand yourself or get a starting place for things, like somewhere you can ask or figure out like, okay, what are these things that I even need to uncover, or these things that I might be hiding?
And I feel like an even more accessible place is putting a pen to paper and journaling, because after a couple minutes of journaling, some magic happens on the paper where it becomes unfiltered. And that can be scary at first because, oh my God, what if people find this and read this and think I'm crazy or whatever happens? You can burn it after, just be safe. But I think journaling is a great place to really work through those things and just put it out on paper.
Yeah, so this week we want you to reflect on a part or the parts of yourself that you don't show to others very readily. What does that mean about you? What is that reflecting about you? And also keep in mind, it could be good. Sometimes we hold certain things back, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But think about it, assess that this week, and see and think about what it might look like to let yourself be seen in that space. See if you can find a place or a person with whom you can show.
Yeah, write about it, speak on it, give it some space. Hit us at Carlie's Couch. Let us know how it goes.
Peace.